Jai Mahamaya Ki Jai, Bole Baba Ki Jai. In our last discourse, we heard about the birth of Sri Krishna. We'll go on to chapter 24 now. Vedavyasa said, on the other hand, there at the house of Nanda, early in the next morning, commenced the grand birthday festivity. Kamsa came to know afterwards by his spies as well as by general rumor that at Gokula, in the house of Nanda, a very joyous festival on a grand scale was being performed. He also knew before that the other wives of Vasudeva, his animals, and his servants were all staying at Nanda's residence in Gokula. Thus, all these gave reasons to Kamsa to suspect the place Gokula, especially because the sage Narada had told him before that the residents, the cowherders at Gokula, Nanda and others, their wives, Devaki and Vasudeva, were all devas incarnates, and consequently they were his enemies. Thus, being brought to more confidence by Narada's words, that vicious Kamsa, the disgrace to his family, was very angry and sent there his demons. They were all to kill Krishna, but instead they were all killed by Krishna of insurpassable powers. Sri Krishna held aloft also the hillock Govardham to protect the cowherds and cows, etc. Hearing all of this, Kamsa became certain also of his own death. Lastly, when the evil-minded Kamsa heard that his demon Kesi was also slain, then he made arrangements for a sacrifice known as Danya Yagya, and under this pretense wanted to bring over there at Mathura the two brothers, Krishna and Balarama. The evil-minded Kamsa, to effect the death of those two of unsurpassable powers, sent Akrura to Gokula to bring him over to Mathura. Akrura, under the orders of Kamsa, went to Gokula and brought the two boys on a chariot to Mathura. On arriving at Mathura, Balarama and Krishna first broke the bow, killed Rajaka and the elephant Kuvalaya, and all the demons and other athletes and warriors. Last of all, Krishna, the Lord of the Devas, holding Kamsa by his hair, killed him with utmost ease. The enemy destroyer Krishna removed the sorrows of his father and mother and released them from their prisons and gave over the kingdom of Mathura to Ugrasena, the father of Kamsa. The high-minded Vasudeva then, with the triple girdle made of munsa grass, performed the Upanayana ceremonies, the wearing of the sacred thread around the body of both Balarama and Krishna, and made them accept the vow of brahmachari. They then departed to the hermitage of the holy Muni to acquire knowledge. Learning all the Vedas and knowledge there they returned quickly to Mathura, and the two sons stayed on, attaining their 12th year, and they became proficient in all the branches of learning and became very powerful. That time, Jarasandha, being grieved at the killing of his son-in-law Kamsa, collected a strong and numerous army and marched to Mathura. 17 times Jarasandha, the king of Magadha, attacked Mathura, and 17 times he was defeated by the ingenuity of that highly intelligent Sri Krishna, who was of firm resolve and was then residing in Mathura. Lastly, Jarasandha sent the Kalayavanas to invade Mathura. These Yavanas were brave and extremely terrific warriors. Hearing that they were coming to attack, Krishna, the destroyer of Madhu, called all the Yadavas and Baladeva and addressed them thus: O blessed ones, now a cause of great terror has appeared amongst us. Kala Yavana is being sent by our powerful enemy Jarasandha to attack Mathura. Now what to do? It is better to save one's life by leaving aside all our homes and wealth and armies. And you should all know that this place of our fathers and forefathers, when it was safe and happy where they dwelled, but now there's a constant source of anxiety and uneasiness that, though the place of our fathers and forefathers ought to be avoided, never ought anyone to dwell there. If you want to dwell at ease and comfort, you ought to dwell in that country or place which is adjacent to a sea or a mountain, where there is no fear from an enemy, and the sages will always remain there. See, the Bhagavan Vishnu, being afraid, as it were, of his enemy, was taking refuge in the body of the 1,000-headed serpent, sleeping in the ocean. It seemed likely that the enemy of Tripura, the great Shiva, is also dwelling on a mountain in Kailash. We too are being constantly worried by our enemies here. Therefore, we ought to go and shouldn't live here anymore. We shall go to Dwarka, the city with our friends, relatives, and wealth. Garuda, the king of the birds, has given us the detailed information of this city. That beautiful city is situated on the seashore in the vicinity of a beautiful mountain. The Yadava chiefs, hearing Sri Krishna's utterance, fraught with their welfare, were ready to depart from their places, attended by their friends, relatives, and belongings. They then collected everything, their animals and their wealth and precious stones, and marched out of their place. Balarama and Krishna went in front. The others followed in groups. Marching for some days, they all reached Dwarka. Then the portions of the city that were dilapidated or destroyed, Sri Krishna had them repaired by engineers, artisans, and craftsmen. Placing the Yadavas there, Krishna and Balarama quickly returned to Mathura and began to stay in that desolated city. The extremely powerful Yavanas arrived then at Mathura. Sri Krishna, knowing that the Yavana chief had come there, went out of the city. The Bhagavan Vishnu, the destroyer of the boastings of the Asuras and other people dressed in yellow robes, appeared on foot before the demons with a smile on his lips. Seeing the lotus-eyed Krishna before them, the treacherous lord of the Yavanas, the demons, pursued him on foot to catch hold of him. Where the powerful Rajasu Mukunda was sleeping soundly, the Bhagavan Krishna led the demon. There Sri Krishna saw the powerful Mukunda and vanished away at once. The king of the demons, on arriving there, found the Rajasa, the royal sage, deep in a sleep. The wicked demon, mistaking Mukunda for Sri Krishna, gave him a good kick. The powerful king got up and was very angry. His eyes became red and reduced that vicious demon instantly into ashes. When Mukunda burnt the demon to ashes, he saw the lotus-eyed Krishna. He bowed down to that supreme Deva and went to the forest. Sri Krishna then went back to Dwarka with Balarama and made Ugrasena there the king and began to enjoy at his will. At the marriage ceremony of Sisupala at the palace of the king of Vidarbha, Vishnu carried away by force Rukamini, the bride-elect, from the Swayambha ceremony and married her. Afterwards, he brought also Jambavi, Satyabhana, Kalinda, Lakshmana, Bhadra, and auspicious Nagnicha, the daughter of the king of Nagnit. On various occasions I married them. O Lord of the earth, these 8 women were the best and most beautiful of Sri Krishna's wives. Rukamini first gave birth to a beautiful child, Pradumna, and Sri Krishna performed the religious ceremonies of the birth of the child. Then the powerful demon named Samvara stole away that little boy from the lying-in chamber and carried him to his own city and made him over under the charge of Mayavati. Coming to know that his son had been stolen away, Sri Krishna became very overpowered with sorrow and took the shelter of the supreme goddess, the Devi, with a heart full of devotion. Sri Krishna then began to chant in sweet, auspicious tones, conveying the highest meanings in adoration of the Yogamaya, who slew Visarua and other demons with ease and alacrity. O Mother, I, in my former birth as the son of Dharma, appeased you by my ascetic practices in the hermitage of Badari and worship you with various offerings. O Mother, have you now forgotten all my devotion to you? O Mother, has any evil-minded enemy stolen away my son from the lying-in chamber? Or have you yourself done this to make fun and to see the amusements? It seems that some of my enemies has done so to insult me. However, you, O Mother, ought not to put your devotee under this shameful condition. O Mother, the Dwarka city is well guarded. A very strong fort is built in its middle, and my palace in the middle of that again, and the lying-in chamber is again in the middle. I therefore must say that it is due to my luck that the child is stolen away. O Mother, I did not go to the house of my enemy. The demons also did not go there. This city is guarded by valiant Devis, soldiers. Then how is it, under what charm, the baby has been stolen, O Mother? Now I come to know that it is due to your Yogamaya. Such things are common due to your Yogamaya in these 3 worlds. O Mother, when I am ignorant of your deepest mysteries, how can there exist anyone amongst the little-minded jivas that can know your doings? My watchman could not see anything where my child was taken away, and who has stolen it? O Mother, I come to the conclusion that it is hidden behind the screen of your Maya. O Mother, it is not strange with you to the chaste woman Rohini Devi, though situated at a great distance and not connected with any male person, you in the 5th month moved away the son to my knowledge from the womb of my mother, and thus Balarama was born to Rohini. This is now known to all. Mother, you are incessantly creating, preserving, and destroying this whole universe by the mixture of the 3 qualities. Who can know your sin-destroying doings, Mother? There is no need of dwelling at length. Suffice it to say that you, no doubt, are doing all this being done in the whole universe. You first create the great joy of the birth of a child, and then again you load us with heavy burdens of sorrows due to the separation from that child. Thus you are always sporting. Otherwise, how my joy at the birth of my child would thus be rendered quite useless. The mother of that child is always weeping like an ewe straying from a flock. She is giving vent to her sorrows, always. O kind-hearted, being thus endowed with illimitable powers and understanding, do you not know my troubles, O Mother? You are the only source of consolation to one suffering from the sorrows of this world. There is no doubt in this. O Goddess, the wise seers say that the birth of a child in any home is the highest bliss there, and the death of the child is the greatest sorrow that can befall any house. Therefore, O Mother, what shall I do in this? What shall I say more than that my heart is going to burst due to the disappearance of my son? O Mother, I will perform all the necessary sacrifices, take up vows, perform all sorts of worship to please you, to remove my sorrow, O Mother. If my son be alive, kindly show him once to me, mother. There is no other than you who is fully capable to destroy this pain and sorrow that's raging in my heart. He who brings into practice things that are considered impractical for the devas and removes the loads of the goddess earth with ease and alacrity, the same Savior of the world, Sri Krishna, thus chanted hymns in adoration of the great goddess. The Devi then became visible to him and said, O Lord of the Devas, do not any longer be sorrowful and miserable. There has been a curse on you before, and for that reason the demon Sambara has stolen away your son by his demonic magic. Therefore, when your son will grow 16 years old, then he will, by my grace, kill the demon perforce and will return to you. There is no doubt in this. Thus saying these words full of hope and confidence, the great goddess Chandika of formidable powers disappeared. Krishna too quitted his sorrows due to the bereavement of his son and began to spend his time in happiness and peace. Here ends the 24th chapter of the 4th book of the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, the Mahapurana of 18,000 verses of Maharishi Vedavyasa, of the stealing away of Lord Krishna's son. Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Harakandeshvari Mata ki jai, Vishveshvari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai.